FM.
Radyo Katipunan, 87.9 FM.
Calling on all young male professionals. Do you wish to live an extraordinary life? Are you tired of the routine and mundane and long for a dynamic, adventurous, and even dangerous life? Do you wish to make your life count and hope to make an impact long after you're gone? Do you wish to live a life of service to society, to country, and to dear Mother Earth? Then you are the one we are looking for. Consider the Society of Jesus. Join the church's gallant army and turn your world upside down. Call the Jesuits Vocations Promotions Team 426-6101, local 3406. Once again, 426-6101, local 3406. Jesuit Music Ministry, music that uplifts the soul. Follow Justcom PH on Spotify and Justcom Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
It's time for The Music Class. Join us for an evening of learning music and appreciating the art behind every hum, tune, and beat. Listen to engaging performances and insights from some of the top and upcoming musicians in the scene today. Tune in every Tuesday evening here on The Music Class. Let the music class begin.
Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, radyo, Katipunan. Sa The Blue Eagle kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpak at tama. Buhay at tenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng buwela. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugod, todo sa kayon, tulong at tulong, lipat na Blue Eagle, kaning giting nagigil, blue and white, one big fight. Radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan, radyo, 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 Katipunan, radyo, Katipunan.
Checking out the latest happenings in, around, and beyond Katipunan. This is the Katipunan Roundup. Katipunan Roundup.
Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM, the voice of the Blue Eagle. You are listening to the Katipunan Roundup. We bring you the ins, outs, and all abouts of the place we call home, Katipunan Avenue.
Yes, we do.
Hello, everybody.
Kawai. Good afternoon. I'm Aya.
And I'm Iana.
And this is the Katipunan Roundup. Today is the 22nd of July this year, 2024. The 204th day of the year, Miss Iana.
Wow, it's so crazy. Parang
That's a lot of days in a year.
Exactly.
And there's more.
And grabe patapos na yung July.
Exactly. That's kind of scary, actually.
And I think tomorrow marks like 1 month since we've graduated, Aya. 1 month of
Don't say
unemployment.
that. Don't say that. That makes me so excited.
Maghahanda
And also
na
scared.
throwback throwback post.
Oo.
1 month post
A
grad.
month ago.
Exactly.
So, ano nga ba ang significance ng day na to, Miss Iana?
For today in particular, in history, in 1993, Wiley Post completed the first solo flight around the world.
Wow.
He took 7 days and 19 hours. That must have been like terrifying and amazing.
I wonder nga, 7 days and 19 hours with breaks yan, right?
With breaks?
With
Oh,
breaks,
nga, no?
right?
Like, do you
Or
think
just
it's
like gas breaks.
right? Do you
I'm
think
not
like,
sure.
do you think they invented stopping at the time? But
They made planes that can run for more than 24 hours.
exactly. And I hope I hope you arrived, and I'm pretty sure you arrived there in one piece. Just like how in 1997, One Piece, the world's best-selling manga and comic series, written and
Best
illustrated
segue.
by Ichiro Oda, first appeared serialized in Weekly Shonen Jump in Japan. Wow. You know, Pio and I, my little brother, we tried to get into One Piece,
Yeah.
and he has been inviting me, and we have yet to pick it up again. But
This is your
talked
sign,
about,
I think.
Exactly, talked about how many like episodes there are.
Oo.
It's like the hundreds.
Definitely. It's a commitment.
Exactly.
For sure. Tapos,
Exactly. Just like the commitment that a lot of Marvel super fans have, because in 2019,
Her segue game is on point today, you guys.
because today is like a very special coverage as well.
It is.
There is going to be a very special coverage today.
Exactly.
Exactly. Just like how segues right into the film again. But the Marvel superhero film Avengers Endgame became the world's highest grossing film, overtaking Avatar. Ultimately, this film grossed $2.9 billion.
Amazing. Congratulations. I don't think that they were under Disney na
You know
when
what?
this happened.
I'm not
also
sure.
not sure. I'm not educated.
What I'm sure
but-
about though is that how many people were flocking to cinemas. I remember how
Exactly.
cinemas, maybe all over the Philippines or at least around the metro, were just showing Endgame.
That's true.
No other films, just Endgame.
Yeah, I remember that. I was part of that crowd. And actually, speaking of flocks, you know what else? You know what
Get
else
it, Aya?
flocks around? Birds. They have
Exactly.
wings. And actually, I have another shark fact for you guys. Thank you so much to our scriptwriter Iso
We
for
love
letting
Iso.
me have another shark fact despite Shark Week being like 2 weeks past. But yes, we have a shark that not only has wings, is also a dinosaur.
Wow.
Ay, naglagay siya ng scientific name. Eagle shark na lang, eagle shark.
And Isa even put down like the pronunciation.
Oh, yeah, she helped me. Okay. The Achilolamna millarcae. I feel like an American saying that.
Milord.
Millarcae. It had its fossilized remains discovered in 2012 in Mexico by an unnamed quarry worker. After the fossils had undergone studies by scientists, they dated the remains to the Cretaceous period. In 2021, Reuters reported that scientists were amazed at this prehistoric shark's proportions, a fin span of about 6 1/4 feet, and a length from head to tail of about 5.5 feet. So, mas matangkad pa yung shark na to kaysa sa akin. Experts theorize that the eagle shark's wings worked in a similar manner to manta rays. However, where manta rays flap their fins, this shark, they did more like a wing glider situation. So, parang may mga airplane underwater and they happen to kind of be, scary. A little terrifying. Never fear, however, because this was no jaw-like terror. So not scary at all. In fact, maybe like an airplane that was also kind of like a puppy.
Exactly.
It fed on plankton.
A photo is up on our stream right now for everybody watching on Facebook and
that's
on
what
YouTube.
it looks like. And I think it's kind of cute.
It's kind of majestic.
It's kind of majestic, right? Like I'm not sure. I've never seen anything like it.
like an airplane that eats plankton. Yeah.
Good for it. Good for it. It existed.
It existed.
Yeah. It had its time.
Exactly. It had its time. It enjoyed flowing around.
Flowing, not swimming. Flowing.
Exactly. It was flowing
Tama,
around.
tama.
Just like how we're gonna flow into greeting people happy birthday. If you're celebrating your birthday today, you're celebrating it with some singers, some actors. We celebrate Selena Gomez's birthday today. She's a pop star and probably one of her the roles that she's best known for is for playing Alex Russo in the Disney Channel's Wizards of Waverly Place show.
Indeed.
Today we also celebrate the birthday of some actors, Willem Dafoe and John Leguizamo, iconic character-ish actors. I don't want to box. I don't know if they're character actors, but iconic actors.
Iconic actors,
Right?
yeah.
They both celebrate their birthday today. So happy birthday to these
Happy
people.
birthday.
And happy birthday to you.
Yeah.
If you're celebrating your birthday today.
I hope you're having a good one. And you wanted to shout out someone, Miss Iana. Who
Did I
was
want
it?
to shout out somebody?
You said so earlier, but I think it wasn't a personal shout out. It was more political.
Oh yes. Do listen to our sauna coverage later on. If you're not listening to the sauna itself, we do have a coverage of it.
So catch it right after this.
Exactly. It's something that you can look forward to.
Yes. And shout out to our listeners on 87.9 megahertz within Ateneo. But if you're not within Ateneo, that's totally fine. We also have our online listeners on zeno.fm/RK879FM and our followers on Facebook and YouTube. We are currently live right now. Kawai kawai. You can see our faces. And also our followers on Twitter and Instagram at Radyo Katipunan.
Period.
Yes. So why is this a special, albeit short, medyo short episode, but very special nonetheless, Miss Iana?
Exactly. A short, significant, very special one.
Exactly.
We are commemorating Diabetes Awareness Week. So if we celebrated Shark Week last week, we're also commemorating towards the end of July Diabetes
Exactly.
Awareness Week. And today we are graced and we're joined by medical experts, Dr. Ana Arceliana and Dr. Janice Isabel Bawal of the Philippine College of Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism. Hello, Doc Ana. Hello, Doc Donka. She's joining us online.
Hello.
Hello po.
Thank you very much for having us here and for all the support for Diabetes Awareness.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for accepting the invite. So yes, they will be able to help us more on. Actually, this will be my first question to both of you. So for our listeners out there and for me na siguro, what is diabetes and its causes and like siguro what it does to someone's body?
Okay, basically diabetes pertains to having high blood sugar, but it's not just about the blood sugar level because there could be a lot of complications associated with it. So with the high blood sugar or what they call hyperglycemia in the cells, later on, it could lead to some complication like the eyes or what they call retinopathy, causing blurring of vision, or the kidneys, what they call nephropathy. In fact, the number one cause of dialysis in the country, the disease that causes it is actually diabetes. And then in terms of what they call cardiovascular events like heart attack and stroke, so diabetes could lead to those complications. In fact, they say around 2 to 5 times higher yung risk to develop those complications when you have diabetes. And aside from the other complications like wounds that heal poorly, etc. Now, in terms of the types of diabetes, actually, there are a lot. But the most common ones would be the type 1 diabetes. So those who cannot produce their own insulin anymore. So that's why they're on insulin for life. So their pancreas is incapable of its own what they call insulin production. So the insulin is the hormone that regulates the blood sugar. So if they lack insulin, they can't regulate the blood sugar. So their blood sugar will be very high and could lead to those complications. For type 2 diabetes, so these are individuals who whose pancreas can still produce some insulin, but there is resistance or there is lack in the hormone insulin. So for actually type 2 diabetes is more common, way more common. So most people are familiar with this. So for these patients, they could be on medications like tablets, or they could also be on insulin, or they could be on both. And then there's also gestational diabetes. So some people could have high blood sugar first detected during pregnancy. There are other types, but those are the most common that we know of.
I see. Okay. I didn't know about the gestational one. I hear about it a lot, but I never like connected it to it's a common thing.
Diba? And parang it can manifest, diabetes can manifest itself in so many ways pala. Parang I didn't realize na, parang meron din palang like visual, there can be like a visual sort of handicap or a visual symptom of it.
Yeah. Actually, Doc Janice, if you are online, would you like to add anything?
Okay. I think...
Hello?
Hello,
Ayan.
yes, you are heard.
Yeah, hello, good afternoon.
Good
Thank you very
afternoon
much
po.
for inviting us here. It's such an honor to be here.
Thank you
So
for being
I
here,
think
Dr.
Anna pretty much covered it all very simply, and I just want to share with everyone that actually our current problem is that type 2 diabetes rather used to be a problem of patients who were aging, but now we actually get patients who are teenagers. They're getting younger every year, and I think it really has a lot to do with lifestyle and of course the type of food that's available. That's why it's important to have these avenues to share these information, because even the parents of these young patients, they're actually very surprised. It's hard for them, it's hard for us to make them understand why their kids already have diabetes at such a young age.
I see.
So I think it's really important to emphasize the importance of lifestyle contribution when it comes to having diabetes.
Okay, and Doc Donka mentions yung lifestyle nga. So, now I'd like to ask, how does one develop? Like, what kind of lifestyle does one lead that can usually lead to developing diabetes? Feel free to answer Doc Donka or Doc Anna.
Yeah, I'm also actually curious kasi Doc mentioned kanina that pabata na ng pabata.
Diba?
Excuse me.
Period.
Pabata na ng pabata. Yung mga people who develop type 2 specifically. And actually, I do have PCOS. So I've been told that I'm also prone to that. And it's really concerning that women not know that they have ovarian stuff, but also it can lead to other things. So if that's something that we can connect to the question how one develops it.
Diba? Parang what lifestyle like choices do some people make that usually lead to diabetes pala?
Yes.
Yes. So before we answer that question, I'm glad that you mentioned PCOS. So that's why we're very thankful to have this opportunity to share with you today. Because if you're thinking within, let's say, the Ateneo community, why is this a relevant topic? Because it's not just like what Dr. Donka said for aging people. In fact, aside from our employees being affected, even young students, because polycystic ovarian syndrome itself, it's a risk factor for developing type 2 diabetes in the future. So that's why it's important for us to be aware of our risk. But in terms of the lifestyle, so the lifestyle that could increase our risk of diabetes would be actually our diet in terms of having lots of processed foods or sugar sweetened beverages or the soft drink juices and even the pastries. So when we don't eat such food in moderation, we could increase our risk of developing type 2 diabetes. So basically, the high sugar, the high those processed food, high cholesterol diet could pose an increased risk. And then even the sedentary lifestyle, it's also a risk factor. So if you've heard the saying, sitting is the new smoking. So that is indeed true. But on the other hand, we'd also like to clarify that it's not just about the lifestyle, because sometimes it could be really frustrating for some people. Like they say, I'm living healthy, but how come I still develop diabetes? So there are a lot of factors like genetics or even predisposing conditions. So for example, if you have a polycystic ovarian syndrome, it could indeed be a risk factor. So not everything could be within our control, or like the genetics, and the interaction is complex between our diet, our genes, the environment. But at least on the things that we could control, we could still do some modifications. I think Dr. Donka would also like to add.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Anna. So thank you for also including the genetic predisposition. So, well, the genes kasi it kind of tells us already that you are really prone to have diabetes, and the lifestyle will just probably contribute if you will get it earlier. Kasi some people say, when we ask them the family history, may kamag-anak po ba kayo who has diabetes? And they say, oo, pero yung mom ko naman, 70s na siya nagkaroon. So, baka hindi naman. So, they don't understand that actually, just because meron silang family history, they can actually get it at an earlier age if they do have medyo unhealthy lifestyles. But if we are able to educate them that iwasan yung mga processed food, as Anna said, and try to maintain an active lifestyle, then probably we can prolong the time before they actually have the full-blown diabetes. So that's also one of the things we want to emphasize when we talk to patients with diabetes.
I see. So it's more of like a timeline thing when you're discussing like genetics siguro, and even then like other factors can contribute to it being like an expedited process siguro. I see.
Early prevention is so important pala talaga.
Exactly. And I'm really glad I'm learning about this.
right now.
And actually, so going back, kasi kinoconnect ko nga sa my experience personally, PCOS makes me take like pills. I'm currently taking birth control pills to like keep it at bay. I'm honestly not sure what it does, but I do know that it's for that, and I'm also taking vitamins for it. So do people with diabetes have to take a certain medication, or is it a change of lifestyle lang talaga? And are these medicines currently accessible, would you say?
Okay, so for diabetes, it's really a multimodal management. So for this year, our theme for Diabetes Awareness Week is apat dapat pagdipayin, iwas komplikasyon ay kamtin. And then, in the apat dapat, so that's our mantra, the 4 pillars of diabetes management. So in this initiative, actually, we're very thankful to have Radyo Katipunan as our media partner. And I think we have our poster. So you can see there, the 1, 2, 3, 4, we have an acronym called IWAS. So IWAS, we're avoiding the complications, because when we have diabetes, it need not be a debilitating thing. So we can avoid the complications. And like you've mentioned, that's right, there are medications that we will take, but all the 4 pillars are important. So I stands i-consulta sa doctor. So that's one of the 4 pillars, regular consultation with the doctor. So it starts with the diagnosis. At the diagnosis of diabetes, we should consult on what is the appropriate management for our case. And then we should also consult regularly. So most people with diabetes, they follow up quarterly. It could be more often or less often depending on the situation. Then next would be number 2, the W. So wastong pagkain. So it's important that we should eat the proper food, the nutritious food, avoiding the sugar-sweetened beverages, the processed food, etc. And then the healthier foods like vegetables, etc. And then, A would be aktibong pamumuhay. So, exercise is recommended at least 30 minutes per day, every other day, or 150 minutes a week. And then, the S would be sapat at angkop na gamot. So, it should be the appropriate or the right medication. So, when you were asking about what medications they will take, it could be in the form of tablets, or for some patients, it could be in the form of an injectable, like insulin or another kind of injectable GLP-1 receptor agonist. So, that's why it's called apat dapat. There should be no missing pillar. So, I've heard mentors say, you cannot diet and exercise your way out of diabetes. So the medication is needed. But at the same time, the converse is also true. So we cannot just keep taking the medications, but we're not paying attention to our diet and lifestyle.
I see.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting for me to hear na it all has to work together. Kaya nga pillars, diba? Parang if you imagine them physically, like in a structure, pag wala yung isa, it'll crumble. So parang, diba? It's very interesting to parang hear from professionals na this is something that parang they have to work together. Parang, and they complement each other. They're not exclusive.
Yeah, and actually, I'm curious to hear about more on the medication from you, Doc Anna and Doc Donka. Na I see these people on the internet with the thing na naka-attach sa arm nila.
Yung parang patch ba yun?
Yeah, it looks like a patch. Is that something that gives them insulin, or is it just something that tells you na hey, you need insulin? Yeah, I wanted to understand more about that, especially regarding the medication of diabetes.
Okay, I think the one that's popular, what they call intermittently scanned continuous glucose monitors. So there's already a development wherein they just have, actually it's a sensor, and they could scan and monitor their blood sugar levels. Though actually there are a very few number of patients with what they call the insulin pump, wherein they could control the amount of insulin going into their body.
I see. Yeah. Okay. I see. Doc, would you like to add anything else regarding the medication po?
Oh, for the medication, I think it's just one issue that our patients always ask us kung forever na po ba ako iinom ng gamot? So as Anna also mentioned, diabetes is really a chronic condition, and all of our patients need to maintain the 4 pillars so that they will have less risk of the complications of diabetes in the long run. So we always tell our patients that when we choose the medications for them, it's not just random lang na ito gusto namin or ito lang. Usually we consider a lot of things like their age, their other comorbidities, their physique, if they're kind of on the heavy side or medyo frail ba sila. We also, of course, consider the kidney function, liver function, and a lot of other characteristics. So there really is a lot of thought that goes into choosing the medications for these patients, because we're always all about individualization, meaning one patient may have certain medications that will not be a good combination for another type of patient. Kasi of course, right now, we're also trying to battle mga fake news, misinformation. So, of course, di ba, nakaririnig natin na yung si kapitbahay ko, umiinom ng ganito, pwede din ba ako doon? So, that's what we're trying to emphasize, that it's really individualized therapy. And of course, we also want to share that these medications for diabetes, they do not ruin or at least affect your kidney function or your liver function. And we always take that into consideration when we choose these medication.
I see. Thank you, Doc. Yes, go
sakto,
ahead.
I think si Doc Donka, parang she was able to touch on some harmful myths pala about diabetes. And so now I'd like to ask, so for people who might be listening, they might be interested now to learn about, parang okay, how do they get like diagnosed, or how do they find out if they do have diabetes? So para sa inyo po, how often do you think we should check in with medical professionals to check po if we're at risk of developing diabetes? So how often should we check in? And then what kind of exams do people take po to be able to determine if they have like a diabetes diagnosis po?
Yeah. So the diagnosis is through a laboratory test. So they take the fasting blood sugar. And then we also have another method, could be the 75 grams oral glucose tolerance test, wherein their fasting blood sugar is taken and they're asked to drink a sweet liquid. And then after 2 hours, their blood sugar is again taken. And then we could also take a look at what they call the HbA1c, which gives an average of blood sugar for the past 3 months. So those are the tests that are usually used to diagnose. But at the same time, there should be regular follow-up. So upon knowing your diagnosis, it's important to see a doctor. And then the follow-up, it depends on the situation. So for those who have uncontrolled diabetes, they could be asked to come back earlier. And then they could also be asked to come back, let's say, quarterly. Usually, that's the usual time of the follow-up. So it's important for them to consult with their doctor the appropriate interval and to follow this interval.
I see. Okay, now that we're on the topic of medical advice from the professionals,
Yes.
kayo po, Doc Anna and Doc Donka, what resources do you recommend, or spaces even do you recommend, that people can use or join to learn more about diabetes po?
Okay, so we're from the Philippine College of Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism. So we have our social media channels as a Facebook page and then the YouTube channel and also on Twitter, TikTok. And then we also encourage them to be part of a community. So the highlight of the Diabetes Awareness Week for this year is that we launched the PCEDM, National Diabetes Club. So it's called Dia Barkada. So it's a support group for Filipino persons with diabetes. And then there we have the QR code on how they could join the Diabetes Club. So I think Dr. Donka would also like to share the benefits on being part of a Diabetes Club.
So we actually launched this last Saturday. So if for our listeners, if most of the audience are young, but they do have relatives come to join the club. So we found that these patients, sometimes they look for people na gusto nilang karamay kasi, na parang someone who also understands what they're going through. So that's one benefit of being part of a diabetes club. Second, of course, we also, with the private group, we also want, again, to share the correct information with these patients, and of course, try really to fight misinformation because of the power of social media. Of course, a lot of patients get their information from social media. Sometimes they even buy their medications from online shops. So I think this is also one of the avenues where we can fight misinformation. And of course, they can also be aware of different updates regarding diabetes. If there are any activities for diabetic patients, then they will also be aware of that, and it's all going to be posted in our Facebook group. So I think what's also nice about the support group is that it's just a private group. So sila lang din ang mag-uusap. There will be, of course, regulation of the posts. We will be screening. So we really want it to be a safe space. Of course, looking into the future, we want to do some projects also for these patients, for the diabetes support group. But right now, what we want to make these patients feel is that they have a safe space. They're not alone in their journey with diabetes. And that's why we also thought of the name Dia Barkada, because it's non-threatening. It takes off the stigma that having diabetes is a bad thing. It's just really something that we have to live with, but it's controllable. You can live a normal and happy life even with diabetes, and it's nice to know that there's someone there for you if you have any questions or misgivings about the disease. So I think that those are really the benefits off the top of my head.
Yes.
Wonderful. And community is so important.
Absolutely.
Diba?
Yeah.
And I can imagine how helpful it would be to be able to join that space na parang andun yung peers nila na fellow people na may diabetes diagnosis. And then,
Yeah, you won't feel alone, and there are professionals there to help you. So thank you for helping us be
Yes.
more educated about this. Doctor, let's all thank Doctors Anna Arceliana and Janice Bawal for joining us today. Thank you guys so much for your time. And of course, Radyo Katipunan is a proud media partner for Diabetes Awareness Week. So ayan, if you guys would like to know more about the programs that they are currently doing, as well as if you are interested in joining the Dia Barkada, they do have their pubs up on their Facebook page, tama?
yes. And they were flashed on our live stream.
Yes, they were flashed earlier, so scroll back. Ayan, thank you guys again so much. This was very educational. Thank you. And with that, I think if you are actually interested in having your event featured on the Roundup, email us at rk879.marketing@gmail.com. katipunan.com.
You can also follow and watch us on Facebook, X, and Instagram at Radyo Katipunan. Hello, Koy Koy. So mga people who are joining us on Facebook and on YouTube, which you can subscribe to. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just look up Radyo Katipunan or go to youtube.com/Radyo Katipunan FM. Ayan, you can also listen to us at 87.9 FM within 2 kilometers of Ateneo. If you're a little bit outside of Ateneo or you're joining us online, you can join us at zeno.fm/RK879FM or on the Zeno radio app.
Indeed. And you should stay tuned on whatever you're listening on into because we have a very special coverage of this year's State of the Nation address. Please stand by for our live streams as they come up on Facebook and YouTube just like they are right now. And stay tuned to your analog or online radio to the station as we begin our coverage very soon in a few minutes.
So once again, thank you so much to Dr. Anna and Dr. Donko for sharing your time and your expertise with us today. Thank you to you guys for joining us today on the Roundup. If you want the lowdown, tune into the Roundup and tune into our sauna coverage later.
Once again, I've been Aya.
And I've been Iana. Bye,
See you again next time.
This is the Katipunan Roundup.
The voice of Blue Eagle. Radyo Katipunan, 87.9.
Sa ilang sandali, sa inyo ang special coverage ng State of the Nation Address 2024 dito lamang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 radyo.